I think managing screen time can be a real challenge, especially because in our culture and our society, we find that devices and videos or games can somewhat take care of our children's interests so we can focus on other things. And that's a dangerous road to go down, I think.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Superintendent Spotlight. We're going to address some parent questions here, and all of these questions you're going to see are real questions we're getting from parents all over the country. We've got an incredible superintendent here today, and we're going to dive into some of these questions.
Well, hi there. I'm Ryan Saxe, Superintendent of Berkeley County Schools in the northeastern panhandle of West Virginia. We're one of the largest school districts in the state of West Virginia with about 20,000 students across 32 schools. Prior to my time in Berkeley, I served as a superintendent of a smaller county, about half the size of Cabell County. And it's interesting because we face similar challenges, even though we're twice the size, and we're really on the cutting edge of greatness here in Berkeley County.
All right, Superintendent, the first question we have for you is about anti-bullying. What is your advice to parents about talking to kids about being kind to each other to reduce online bullying?
Well, thank you, Josh. I think one of the most effective ways to reduce online bullying is through consistent, open communication. Encouraging kids and children to just be kind online just as they would be in person. I think about my own little boys, and even though they're too young to use social media, thank goodness, I know that establishing values of kindness and empathy, that starts early. In our school district, we utilize our Superintendent Student Advisory Council to help spread positive messages about respect and digital citizenship. And I think that by empowering our students to lead these conversations, we can create a culture of kindness that extends both online and offline.
Well said. What are the steps you recommend to parents to resolve bullying conflicts?
I think the first step is to listen carefully to your child's concerns. Whether the bullying is happening online or in person, it's crucial to take it very seriously, and I think to act quickly. And I always recommend that parents document the issue and contact their school right away. In my experience, I think it's important that we emphasize that there needs to be a teamwork between parents, students, and school staff to resolve conflicts effectively and quickly. And I think that when we think about like our school district, we're larger. And so that means that we rely heavily on clear communication between all stakeholders. And so I think also as a dad, I think it's understandable that we have this protective instinct with our children. But I also want to encourage parents to use in these moments, these experiences, teaching opportunities for resilience and problem solving so that they can learn how to resolve their conflicts amicably between their peers.
Yeah, well said. Let's talk a little bit about disappearing messages. What is your advice to parents about talking with kids about apps that have disappearing messages?
Well, I think the first thing is parents need to know they exist. I think that every day there's a new app that I think poses a unique risk to students and to children if not used appropriately. And these types of apps, they pose unique risks because they create a false sense of security for kids. And the thing is that we need to remember that nothing truly disappears online. It's always going to be there in some form or fashion. So I think parents should have ongoing conversations with their children about these apps and make sure that they know the potential consequences of sharing content that they think will vanish. And so again, it's really important to have those courageous, very straightforward conversations with your kids about the dangers of those types of messaging platforms.
Yeah, so well said. Let's talk a little bit about screen time, Superintendent. What are your tips that parents can do to better manage screen time at home?
Well, I think managing screen time can be a real challenge, especially because I think in our culture and our society, we find that devices and videos or games can somewhat take care of our children's interests so we can focus on other things. And that's a dangerous road to go down, I think. I think that something that I face with as a dad, who I have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, we want to make sure that they're not using screen times extensively. Yet we do apply appropriate amounts of screen time as a reward for our students, or a reward or a motivation tool for our children. So I recommend for parents setting clear, consistent boundaries, whether that's limiting screen time during meals or before bed or other times of the day. For us in our school districts, we've tried to limit some screen time by setting clear, concise messaging and expectations around online learning that we have during the day, but also limiting cell phone use for students throughout the school day as well. Interestingly, I don't want to deviate too far here, Josh, but I had a conversation with a student since we've implemented a cell phone policy where students can't have their cell phones out during instructional time. A student at a junior high school said, for the first time ever, I've had meaningful conversations with my peers, because when we finished classwork, everybody went to their cell phones. They were chatting or video games or whatever. And he said, now we actually have meaningful conversations conversations. So I think it's about instilling those expectations with our own children at home.
Yeah, so well said. And that's the end of our Superintendent Spotlight. Superintendent, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you, Josh. It was a pleasure to be here. I really found our session insightful, and I hope our parents find it helpful as well.
That's great. For all the rest of you parents out there, remember the goal is to keep your kids safe on social media so they can be successful and someday shine online to get the dream college, career, internship, and everything else in their future. Let's say yes to tech in a responsible way together. The only safety app in the world that's going to protect your kids is a rich dialogue between you and your kids. We'll see you all in the next episode. Have a great rest of the day.